Sierra has all the best active and outdoor brands for the super athletic stuff, like running gear for cruising up the trail. Woo! And the super athletic-ish stuff, like fishing gear for chilling by the creek. Nice cast. Fitness apparel to push for higher reps. You got this. And golf balls priced so you can afford to lose one. Or a few. Head to Sierra or Sierra.com for the brands you want at the prices that let you do it all. From athletic to athletic-ish, Sierra's got it.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, and I'm Dr. Neal Malik. Hey there, happy Friday, and welcome to another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your health questions related to fitness, diet and nutrition, and lots more. You send in the questions, and I answer them for you. Now, if you do send in a question and you're in the U.S., we'll mail you a copy of our hardcover workbook. Now, if you're outside of the U.S., we'll email you a PDF version. So what's the easiest way to send in a question? Just email it to health@oldpodcast.com. All right, and with that, let's hear today's question as we optimize your life. Today's question came via email. Brian writes, Hi, Dr. Neal. You've spoken about the benefits of high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, over steady aerobic exercise when it comes to weight loss. But can you comment on whether there are any advantages of steady aerobic exercise over high-intensity interval training? Thank you for taking the time to send in your question, Brian. And you're right, I do spend a lot of time talking about high-intensity interval training and not much about more moderate intensity exercise. So let's discuss. First, we'll start with the recommendations that most health organizations agree on. The Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans state that healthy adults should perform 150 minutes each week of moderate intensity continuous exercise. So if we were to translate that, it would mean aiming for about 30 minutes of walking at a pace that makes us have to breathe a little heavier at least 5 days each week. Now, this type of exercise, where we maintain a moderate pace for more than 10 minutes at a time, is often called steady state exercise or aerobic exercise. These same guidelines also mention that if we're not able to get 30 minutes of aerobic exercise all in one session, we can break up the session into shorter ones. So we could walk for 10 minutes during our morning break at work, then go on another 10-minute walk during lunch, and another 10-minute walk when we get home. Notice how this would still meet the 30 minutes per day recommendation. Now, these physical activity guidelines for Americans also mention that we could increase the intensity of our exercise and shorten our workout time. So, if we were to perform high-intensity exercises instead of moderate-intensity ones, we could commit to just 75 minutes of activity per week. So, we could aim for 15 minutes of high-intensity exercise 5 days a week, and we would meet this recommendation. Now, how do we know when an exercise is high intensity versus moderate intensity? We know an exercise is high intensity when we're breathing so heavily it's difficult to talk. So, running or rowing for 15 minutes 5 days each week would likely meet this recommendation. Oh, and by the way, these higher intensity exercises are often called anaerobic exercises. Now, it's perfectly fine to mix and match these recommendations. We could perform 3 days of moderate intensity aerobic activity for 30 minutes each time, and 2 days of high intensity anaerobic activity for 15 minutes each time. Now, if that's not enough, these same physical activity guidelines also mention muscle strength training. It's recommended that we get at least 2 days of muscle strength training each week. Now, these muscle strength training recommendations aren't quite as specific, meaning there's no mention of time or number of sets or repetitions we have to perform. Instead, the recommendations are to just hit all the major muscle groups each time. So, using all of these guidelines, a weekly exercise program might look something like this. Monday, start with some muscle strengthening exercises, hitting all of the major muscle groups, followed by 30 minutes of aerobic exercise like walking at a moderate intensity. Tuesday could be a rest day with maybe some simple stretching exercises. Wednesday, we could incorporate a high-intensity anaerobic exercise like running or rowing or cycling at a fast pace for 15 minutes. Thursday, another rest day with some simple stretching. Friday, some muscle strengthening exercises, hitting all the major muscle groups, followed by 30 minutes of aerobic walking at a moderate intensity. Saturday, another high-intensity anaerobic day. Again, like running, cycling, rowing, all at a fast pace for 15 minutes. And finally, Sunday, more aerobic exercise like walking for 30 minutes at a moderate intensity. So hopefully we now have a fairly good idea of the differences between moderate intensity aerobic activity and high intensity anaerobic activity, as well as muscle strength training and the recommendations for each. But where does high intensity interval training fit into all of this? High intensity interval training, or HIIT, incorporates those anaerobic intense activities we just mentioned, like running, rowing, or cycling at a fast pace, hence the term high intensity. But since it's hard for many of us to maintain this intense activity for a long period of time without having to rest, we say we're performing intervals. An example of this would be 1 minute of running at a very fast pace to the point where we're breathing so heavily it would be difficult to talk, followed by 1 minute of rest. The word interval here just means time period. So high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is just saying that we're performing high-intensity exercise for set periods of time with some built-in rest periods too. And since we're pushing our bodies to perform at this high intensity, we don't need to spend as much time on these types of activities. Now, back to your question, Brian. Are there any health benefits to performing moderate intensity aerobic exercise? Yes, absolutely. Moderate intensity, steady state aerobic exercise improves the health of nearly every cell in the body, our muscles, our gut cells, even our brain cells. In fact, it's usually not recommended that we incorporate only high-intensity interval training into our routines. Instead, it's best to incorporate variety, where we include some moderate intensity activities and some high-intensity interval training. As I mentioned with my sample weekly workout plan, incorporating all forms of exercise seems to be the most beneficial. Too much high-intensity activity can lead to burnout or injuries. Not incorporating any higher intensity activities may slow down our progress or prevent us from reaching our full potential. Ignoring muscle strengthening may cause us to lose muscle more quickly as we age, and that can lead to other problems like balance issues. So I'll sum things up by saying that all movement is valuable. Sitting less and moving more consistently is the key. And even better news, if we can get more activity than what's recommended by the physical activity guidelines for Americans, that 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity or 75 minutes a week of vigorous intensity activity or a combination, we'll probably experience even more health benefits. Now, as always, talk to your healthcare provider before starting any exercise program. And if you want even more personalized exercise advice, you can find a certified personal trainer to help guide you. And in fact, you can go to acsm.org to find a certified personal trainer in your area. If you're a small business, the right hire can be make or break. Hoping the right people see your job posting isn't the best growth strategy. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Join the 3.3 million employers worldwide that use Indeed to connect with quality talent that fits their needs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 40% off, plus up to $500 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung. Get a fridge with 0 clearance hinges, so the doors open fully even in tighter spaces in your kitchen. And laundry that saves you time, like an all-in-one washer dryer that can run a full load in just 68 minutes. Shop Spring Black Friday savings, plus get free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more at the Home Depot. Offer valid April 9th through April 29th, U.S. only. See store online for details.
Thank you again for taking the time to send in your question, Brian. Now, if you want to send in a question to be answered right here on the show and get a copy of our workbook, you can email one to health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want to hear your own voice on the podcast, come by oldpodcast.com/ask. Right on that page, you can record your question straight from your computer's microphone. It's really easy. You can even play back your message and do retakes before sending it in, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 161-I-LOVE-OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. Thank you so much in advance for doing that. Answering your questions is my favorite part of the show. But that'll do it for another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through, and I hope you have a great start to your weekend. Hey, and of course, I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.